Welcome back. You are watching a video lecture series of web technology subjects. Here the topic is XML. Myself, Professor Niraj Thakor. Now, what is XMLs? XML stands means the extensible markup language is used to describe the data. The XML standard is a flexible way to create the information formats and electronically shares structured data via the public internet as well as the via corporate networks. Okay, so now the XML stands for the extensible markup language. A markup language is used to provide the information about documents. In XML, we are using the tags. The tags are added to the document to provide the extra informations. HTML tags to tell a browser to how to display the document. XML tags give a reader some idea what the some data means. XML is designed to self-descriptive. XML tags are not predefined. You must define your own tags. XML is a W3C recommendations. Now, what is the XML used for? XML documents are used to transfer the data from one place to another place, often over the internet. XML subsets are designed for the particular applications. Most of these subsets are registered with the W3 consortium and that are available for the users. Now, what is XMLs? XML is not a replacement of HTML, but HTML can be generated from the XML. The presentation format the XML can be converted into a programming language, a network transfer protocol, and a database. Advantages: the XML is a text-based protocol. This is take the less space and can be transmitted efficiently via the network. One XML document can be displayed differently in the different media, and like the HTMLs, video, CD, DVD. You can only have to change the XML document in order to change all the rest. XML document can be modularized and parts can be reusable. Now, what is the quick comparisons between the HTML and XML? The XML is not a replacement for the HTML. HTML was designed to display data with focus on how the data looks, where on the other side the XML was designed to describe the data with focus on what the data is. Now, these are the quick difference. The HTML uses the tags and attributes. Content and formatting can be placed together. This is the simple syntax or simple structure of the HTML content. Here they have given the examples of p tag. Tags and attributes are predetermined and rigid. On the other sides, we are also use the tags and attributes. The content or format are separates. Formatting in the style sheet. It means the schema. Allow to user to specify what each tag and attribute means. Now, how looks the XMLs? Okay, there are the three components of the XML content. The first one is the XML document. The second one is the DTD. It means the document type declarations. And the third portion is the XSL. It means the extensible style sheet language. This is the schema or structure of the XML. The DTD and XSL do not need to present in all cases. Okay, so most component is the first one, XML document. These two are not necessary, the DTD and the XSL. Now, this is the simple example of XML. Here I have created the node tag, node tag, and after that I have created the child tag, the to, from, heading and body. Okay, this is the simple example of XML. Now let's look the how to create the XMLs. Okay, now the next is a well formatted XML documents. Element have an open and close tag unless it is an empty element. Attributes values are quoted. If the tag is an empty element, if the tag is an empty element, it has a closing and before the end of the tag. Open and close tags are nested correctly. There are no isolated markup characters in text. If there is no DTD, all the attributes are of the type is a character data by default, C data. A valid XML document has an associated DTD and complies with the constraints in the DTD. Now what is XML document? The XML documents that have the elements, attributes plus some other details. Now this is the simple structure of XML document. Here I have created the article, it means the root tag. This is the article. Now we create the inner tag. The first one is the author, the second one is a title, third one is a text, and in the text tag I also created the inner tags, abstract tag and the section tags. Okay, these are the freely definable tags in the XML documents. Now just check out this. This is the starting tag and this one is the ending tag, and these are the elements on text element, and these are the sub elements, the sections and abstract, etc. And the attributes with the name, these are the attributes is a number and the value is a 1, and the second example title attribute and the value is a introductions. Now this is the simple declaration of the XML, the angular brackets, the question mark, XMLs, then question marks, then angular bracket close. Okay, this is this not required structure, but the we have to use in all XML documents. In attributes includes the versions, encoding, the character encoding used to the documents, the standalone if the external data is required. Okay, this is the simple structure way of defining the XML structures. The angular brackets, question mark, XML version 1.0, encoding, UTF-8, and the second one is a standalone if the we have to use external DTD. If we have to create the external DTD, then we have to use this XML structure. Now doc type, this is the doc type specifications. If you specify the DTD, then we have to declare this syntax: angular bracket start, then explanatory signs, doc type, and the angular bracket close. Okay, these are the two forms. And the first one is a doc type, root element, system, and the URL of DTD if you used external DTD, and the internal DTD. The next one is a second form is a doc type, root element, public, the name and the URL of DTD. Now how to implement or define commands in XML: the angular bracket start, the explanatory signs, then the dash dash and the dash dash and the angular bracket close. This is the syntax of commands in XML. Contents are ignored by the procedures. They cannot come before the XML declarations, cannot appear inside an element tag, may not include a double hyphens. Now the how to declare tag in XML. Okay, this is the syntax of a tag, the predefined or not predefined, not predefined tag. We have to declare on tags. The tag, the text and the tag can contain text, other elements or combinations. Element name must start with the letter underscore and can have any number of letters, number, hyphens, period and underscore. This is the case sensitive tags. May not start with the XML, can be a parent, grandparent, grandchild, ascender and descendant. Each element tag can have divided into two parts. The first one is a namespace and the second one is a name. Now what's the namespace? The namespace is defined by the XMLNS attribute of the start tag of an element. It is not a mandatory but useful in giving a uniqueness in the element declared using XMLNS name dot value equal to value attribute. A URL is recommended by a value, can be attribute of any element. The scope is inside the elements tag, may define more than one per element. If no name given after XMLNS prefix, use the default namespace which is applied to all element in the defined element without their own namespace. Can set default namespace to an empty string to ensure no default namespace is in use within an element. Now the second one is a key value. That describes the additional information about the data with the help of key attributes. With the help of key attributes, the additional information about the tag or elements. This is the syntax of tag, syntax of key element, key attributes. The tag key is equal to value, then text, and the text value must always be quoted. Key names have some restrictions as an element names. Reserved attributes are XML language, XML space. Now the next ones, this is the empty element. How to declare empty element with the help of tag opening and the closing. Okay, this is the declare the empty tag in XML. These are the two ways. The first one is this and the second one is this. As no text used to add non-textual content to or provide additional information to the parser. Processing instructions. This is the processing for attributes to specific and outside applications. Now C data. Now C data in its document data types. The C data to define the special section of character data which the processor does not interrupt as markup. Anything inside treated as a plain text. Now what is DTD? XML document with correct syntax is called a val format. A valid XML document must be also known as a document type definition. Rules that defines the legal elements and attributes for XML documents are called a document type definition or XML schema. There are the two different documents definitions that can be used with the XML. The first one is a DTD and the second one is a XML schema. The DTD defines the structure and the legal elements and the attributes of an XML document. Why we are using DTD? With the DTD, independent groups of people can agree on a standard DTD for interchanging a data. An application use a DTD to verify that XML data is valid or not. The DTD having two types. The first one is a external DTD and the second one is a internal DTD. This is the structure of the internal DTD declarations. The XML version 1.0. In the DTD declaration, inside the XML file, it must be wrapped in the doc type sections. This is the doc type sections, and then after this is the root node, root tag. It means a node tag. Okay, this is the root node, and and then after the element note to from heading body. Element 2 is the PC data, element from the PC data, element heading PC data, and element body of PC data. These are the data types of the to from heading and body. The past character data, the doc type. The doc type not defines the root element of the document is a note. Element note defines the note element must contain the for element to from heading and body. Element 2 defines the element to be typed PC data. The element from defines the from element to be a type PC data. Element heading defines the heading element to be the type of PC data. And the last one, the element body defines the body element to be a type of PC data. The note is a root element. The root element node contains the four elements like to, from, heading and body. Defines the element type PC data, defines the parsed character data. It means the parsable text data. This is the example of internal DTD. Now the move on the next, the external DTD. The external DTD declares as a doc type note system that in the double quotations the external DTD. Here I write create a mail.dtd. This is the example of external DTD. This is the external DTD data. Here the node is a root node and the to, from, heading and body is a child node of a root node element. And this is the structure of the external DTD element, not to, from, heading, body, and these are the body of not element of the to, from, heading and body. Now XML schema. XML schema describes the structure of XML document just like a DTD. XML document is a correct syntax with the well formed. XML document validated against XML schema is both well formed and valid. XML schema describes the structure of an XML document. XML language is also referred as a XML schema definitions. It means if suppose have you asked the XML schema or have you asked the XML schema definitions, so both are the same. This is the structure of the XML schema. XML schema, XMLNS, XS, HTTP, http://w3.org. This is the W3C recommendations. And then after the XS element name is a node, is a root element. Then after the XS complex types, then that after the schema sequence, XS sequence, the XS element name to the data type is a string. The second element is a from, the data type is a string. The third element is a heading, the data type is a string, and the fourth element is a body. And close the sequence tag, and then after the close the complex type, then after close the element tag, and then after the schema, close the schema structure. This is the simple structure of XML schema. Okay, this is the XML schema describes the structure of an XML document. So that's why we have to implement the structure of XML schema. The purpose of an XML schema is to define the legal building blocks of an XML document. The elements and attributes can appear in a document. The number of child elements, the data types of an element and attributes, and default and fixed value for the elements and attributes. XML document can have a refer to a DTD or an XML schema. Now XSD, the schema element. Now what the XML schema do, or the schema tag. The XML schema element is a root element of every XML schema, just like that. Just check the example. This is the XML schema, and this is the root element of XML schema or XSD. Now this is the simple XML structures or schema structures. The schema element is the root element of the every XML schema. This is the structure of the schema element, the XML version 1.0 and the access the schema and the closing access schema. This is the root element of every XML schema. The schema element may contain the some attributes. A schema declaration often looks something like this. This is the structures of this XML schema, XML MS. This is the W3 schools, W3 consortium, the target namespace, w3school.com, the XML MS. The element from default is a qualified value. Now the referencing a schema in XML document. Here I create a note.xsd. This is the example or referring a external schema to the XML documents. This is the .xml file, and we have the creates a note.xsd. This is the example of xsd, note.xsd. This is the note.xsd. Here the sequence is the to, from, heading, body, and the root element is a note. And this note.xsd is referring to this XML file. Okay, so how to refer the XML XSD file in XML document with the XSI, the schema locations, not.xsd. Now to the hello Jani reminder, the don't forget me this weekend. Now XML schema data types. XML schema has a lot of built-in data types. The most common types are the string, decimal, integer, boolean, date and time. Okay. Here the examples, the string, integers, a date. Okay. So how to define in schema. The XML element name, the last name type is equal to access string, and the XML element name age, the type access integers, and the XML element date bond. The data type is a date. Now next is XSL for each element. XSL for each element can be used to select every XML element of the specified node sets. XSL for each tag applies to a template repeatedly for the each node. Now the syntax is the XSL for each. The select expressions XSL for each element. The select is the attributes of select for each element. XPath expression to be evaluated in current context to determine the sets of nodes to be iterated. Now the next one is a XSL value of element. The XSL value of elements is a value XSL value of tag put the values of selected node as per the XPath as text. This is the syntax of the value of element. XSL value of select expressions, disable output and escaping yes and no. These are the two attributes. The first one is the select and the second one is a disable output, escaping. The select XPath expression to be evaluated in the current context, and the disable output escaping. The default value is a no. If the yes, the output text will not accept XML characters from the text. Now the next one is a XSL sort element. XSL sort elements tag specify sort criteria of the nodes. This is the simple syntax of the sort element. XSL sort select the string expressions, the language. Here we have written what is the language of the token. The next one is the data type, the text, numbers, the queue names or etc., and the order, the sorting in the ascending order or the descending order. And also we have to put another criteria is the case order. is the upper first or lower first. Okay, now these are the attributes of the sorting element. First one, select, sorting the key of node. Language alphabet used to determine the sort order. Data type of the text. Order, sorting order, default is a ascending order. And the case order, sorting order of a string by capitalizations. Default value is a upper first. Now the next one is the XSL if element. XSL if text specify conditional test against the content of nodes. The following the syntax, the XSL if test is equal to boolean expressions, XSL if close. Now the test is the condition of in the XML data of the to the test. Now we will show an example of XML. The first example in the practical list of write an XSD file for employee.xml to provide the following constraints. First one is employee ID is unique, the second one is a PAN card number is mandatory, and the third one is a contact number, maybe 0 or more. Also write employee.xml file with the sample records. Now first we have to create .xsd file, and then after we have to create XML file. Now let's check the how to create XSD file. Now the first ones, this is the structure of XML schema or XSD schema, access schema, the XMLNS, the w3.org. This is the main w3 consortium. The second one is a root element. Access element name is equal to employee. Here we have to declare root element name as a employee. Now the next one is a complex types, and these are the sequence of our XML file. The first one is the employee ID, and the data type is access string. The second one is a PAN card number, the data type is string, and the element third is a contact number, and the data type is a access string. Now this is the access sequence close, the access complex type, then access element close, and the close the XML schema. The next one is a employee. Next one is we have to create the XML file. Here the XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8 employee XMLNS.XSI. These are the schema instance of the W3C, and this is the refer to the XML file employee.xsd, employee ID 1111, PAN card number 1020, and the contact number is this. Now we have to execute our XML file. So this is the output of our XML file.
The file in the tabular structure. Also write the sample items.xml file. Now we will check example of this XSL file. Now check, this is the XSL file, or this is the structure file. Our main aim is the price is greater than 200. We have to find the data which price is greater than 100 rupees or 200 rupees. Okay, now check this XSL file. First one, the XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. The second one is XSL style sheet version 1.0. And now the next one, this is the XSL template. We have written in XSL file XSL template, then match. Now this is the structure of HTML. That's why we to define HTML. Now we have all the structures or schema right in the body sections in the XSL file. Write down the tag body, and the body tag, here we have put the h2 tag, my book collections. Now uh, main aim is to get the data in the tabular form. That's why we have to use the table tag. In the table tag we have to also use tr tag for the creating the row, and this is the th tag for the table header. Now XSL for each. For each, what is the meaning of for each? uh, we have already seen in the section. Just go through that. What is for each? The for each element can be used to select every XML of a specified node set. Okay, suppose we have to fetch the data repeatedly, then we have to use the for each statement. Then for each select catalog cd. And now the next is a if conditions, because we have to uh, get the books, those were price greater than 200. That's why we have used if conditions. XSL if test price greater than 200. And now this is the tr tag td XSL value, select titles, select author, country, price and year. Now the if sections, close the if sections, and now the close for each sections. After that we have to close the table sections, then after we have to close body section, then close HTML sections, and then after XSL template, and then after the most important, this is the XSL style sheets. So we have already we have created the XSL style sheets, XSL schema or XSL style sheet. Now the next is we have to create XML file for the data. So you have to check that XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. Now this is the refer XSL file, XML style sheet, type text XSL, h reference item.xsl. This is already created. Okay, this is the items.xsl. We have to use this XSL file in this XML page for the using this syntax. Now thereafter catalog cd, title, the author, country, price and year. Now we have written the data, data 1, data 2, data 3, data 4, data 5, data 6, 7 and so on. Now after that we have to execute our program. This is the item.xml file. Okay, this is our output. In XML file we have write a lot of data, but here only fetch those data whose price is greater than 200. Okay, that's good. Now thank you for these sessions. We will meet you in the next session. Thank you.